Today, we expose 5 Aussie steakhouse chains that are charging you premium prices for frozen, chemical-tenderised meat, microwaved sides, and service that has customers begging for a refund. Some of these places are national icons, relying on nostalgia to sell you grey, rubbery steaks while real butchers are shaking their heads. And yes, by the end of this video, you'll know the 2 Australian steakhouse experiences that are actually cooking with fire, respect, and real beef. Let's start with a reality check. Australians pride themselves on knowing good beef. We have some of the best cattle in the world, grazing on vast pastures from the Kimberley to Gippsland. We know what a real steak should taste like: rich, beefy, caramelized on the outside, and tender on the inside. But somewhere along the line, the family steakhouse turned into an industrial feedlot for humans. We've been trained to accept slow-cooked as code for boiled in a bag, and flame-grilled as liquid smoke painted on a piece of meat that's never seen a real fire. We're paying $40, $50, sometimes $60 for steaks that are tough, gristly, or suspiciously soft from chemical tenderizers. The sides come from packets, the sauces from buckets, and the whole experience feels less like dining and more like processing. We sit in booths covered in sticky vinyl, shout over blaring music, and wait 45 minutes for a piece of meat that has less flavor than the napkin it's served on. And the worst part, we keep going back because of the deals, the kids eat free nights, and the memories of how good it used to be. But the golden era of the Aussie steakhouse chain is over. The quality has nosedived, the prices have skyrocketed, and the deception is rampant. So let's grab the steak knife and cut through the marketing. Here are the 5 worst offenders you need to ditch immediately. Number 1, Hog's Breath Cafe. This one is tragic. Hog's Breath used to be the place. The curly fries, the prime rib, the party atmosphere. It was the go-to for 18th birthdays, family reunions, and Friday night feeds. But if you've been lately, you know the magic is dead. The famous prime rib that they claim is slow-cooked for 18 hours. Customers are now calling it boiled meat that tastes like it came out of a sous vide bag with zero flavor. TripAdvisor and Product Review are graveyards of disappointed fans. One diner wrote, "My wife's 200-gram sirloin was 100 grams of gristle. I don't know how a chef could murder meat so badly." Another complained that the slow-cooked steak was tough, tasteless, and very badly cooked. And the famous curly fries often arrived cold, soggy, and tasting of old oil. The hog's tail fries used to be legendary, crispy, seasoned perfectly, addictive. Now they're often limp, greasy, and tasting like they've been sitting under a heat lamp for an hour. The problem is systemic. The slow cook method they trumpet is designed to mask lower quality cuts and ensure consistency, but it often results in meat with a weird, mushy texture that lacks the chew and char of a real steak. When you're paying over $30 for a main, you expect fresh cooking, not an industrial reheat job. One reviewer described their experience in Port Macquarie as disgusting, with a steak that was grey and tough. The hospitality slogan feels like a cruel joke when you're ignored by staff and served lukewarm food. The marketing suggests fun, big portions, and famous food. The reality is steak that tastes like wet cardboard. If you're going there for nostalgia, stop. You're just funding a zombie brand that has forgotten how to cook. Number 2, Rashays. Rashays has expanded everywhere, popping up in shopping centres and suburbs across the country. They position themselves as a modern, casual dining spot for families, a place where you can get everything from pizza to schnitzel to steak. But when it comes to steak, they are failing hard. Reviews consistently mention steaks that are poorly cooked and seasoned, often arriving grey and lifeless. One Reddit user nominated them as one of the worst food chains in Australia, citing a severe downgrade in quality over the last decade. A TripAdvisor reviewer noted, "It's nearly $50 for a steak that's poorly cooked. Stuff is always coming out wrong." Another customer complained about a Wagyu lasagna that tasted fatty with no Angus beef flavor. Deal, the issue with Rashays is that they try to do too much. When a kitchen is churning out pancakes, pasta, burgers and stir-fries, the steak becomes just another ticket on the rail. There's no specialized grill chef. There's no resting time. There's just a cook slamming a piece of meat onto a flat top or through a conveyor oven. The creamy mushroom sauce is often a gluggy, salty paste that screams packet mix. The sides, like the mash, have been described as packet blend and tasteless. You're paying restaurant prices, often $40 plus for a steak meal, for what is essentially glorified cafeteria food. The atmosphere is chaotic, loud, and often feels like a food court with waiter service. The marketing suggests a fun, premium, casual vibe. The reality is a chaotic, overpriced disappointment where the chef is more of a heater-upper. If you want a real steak, you don't go to a place that also specializes in Nutella pancakes. Number 3. Outback Steakhouse. It's the American chain pretending to be Australian, sold back to Australians. Confusing, yes. Disappointing, absolutely. Outback Steakhouse promises bold flavors and huge portions, leaning heavily on a caricature of the Australian outback that makes us cringe. But the real crime isn't the decor, it's the food. Trustpilot reviews paint a grim picture. One customer ordered the filet, the most expensive cut, and received it cold, while another found their ribeye gristly and overpriced. But the real killer is the assembly line feel. Food often arrives barely warm, suggesting it's been sitting under a heat lamp while waiting for other tables' orders. The bloomin' onion might be a novelty, a deep-fried calorie bomb that tastes mostly of batter and salt. But the steaks are often over-seasoned to mask the lack of meat quality. The seasoning blend they use is aggressive, salty, and designed to cover up the fact that the beef itself isn't top-tier. And let's talk about the price. You're paying serious money, often over $40, for a steak that might be tough, cold, or cooked completely wrong. One reviewer summed it up. I gave them one more chance and was disappointed at the high cost and low quality. No more Outback for us. Yeah, the service is often scripted and impersonal, driven by corporate targets rather than genuine hospitality. The Bushman's bread is sweet and cakey, more like a dessert than a dinner roll. The whole experience feels artificial, like dining in a theme park. If you want authentic Australian beef, don't go to a place that was invented in Florida. Number 4. The Meat and Wine Co. Inconsistent locations. This is controversial because the Meat and Wine Co. positions itself as high-end. They talk about aged meat, premium sourcing, and sophisticated dining. And in some flagship locations, it's good. But in others, it's a premium trap. We're seeing increasing complaints about value for money. A product review user noted paying $160 for a 400-gram steak that was recommended by a waitress, only to feel it was massively overpriced for the quality delivered. When you charge those kinds of prices, perfection is the minimum requirement. But diners report inconsistent cooking, medium rare arriving medium well, and service that can be arrogant rather than attentive. The issue here is the upsell. You go in for a nice meal, get pushed towards the most expensive dry-aged cuts, and receive something that, while decent, isn't life-changing. You're paying for the fit-out, the location, and the brand name, while the actual beef on the plate often struggles to justify the triple-digit bill. It's luxury, dining by numbers. One reviewer mentioned that their Monte cut was tough and chewy, despite being sold as a premium marble score steak. Another complained that the basting sauce used on the steaks was overpowering, masking the natural flavor of the meat. Real, high-quality beef doesn't need to be drowned in a sweet, sticky baste. It should stand on its own. When a premium steakhouse relies on heavy sauces, you have to ask what they're hiding. Number 5. Ribs and Rumps. Once a powerhouse of the Aussie steakhouse scene, Ribs and Rumps has become a shadow of its former self. The promise of mammoth portions and expert grilling has been replaced by complaints of toughness, poor sourcing, and tired venues. One diner in Rockhampton, the beef capital of Australia, described their Scotch fillet as tough, tasteless, and very badly cooked, while their partner's sirloin was 100 grams of gristle. Another waited 20 minutes just to be attended to, only to receive sautéed mushrooms that tasted like rubber. When you're in a region famous for beef and you can't cook a steak, something is structurally wrong. It suggests cost-cutting in the kitchen, cheaper suppliers, or a lack of skilled staff who know how to handle meat. The rumps part of the name used to mean giant, flavorful cuts of meat. Now, it often means a chewy, vein-riddled slab that gives your jaw a workout. The ribs are often boiled until they're mushy, then slathered in a generic BBQ sauce that tastes like pure sugar. The venues themselves often feel dated, with worn-out furniture and a lack of atmosphere. You're paying for the legacy of the brand, not the food on the plate today. It's a sad decline for a chain that used to be a reliable favorite. The pattern of disappointment, do you see the thread? Slow cooked to hide toughness, packet mix, sauces to save time, heat lamps killing the freshness, and prices that keep climbing while the quality keeps falling. These chains rely on the fact that you're there for a birthday or a family gathering, betting that you won't complain because you don't want to ruin the mood. They count on your politeness, they count on your nostalgia, they count on the fact that you're too distracted by the celebration to notice that you're eating mediocrity, but you don't have to settle for gristle and regret. You work hard for your money. When you go out for a steak, it should be an event. It should be better than what you can cook at home. It should be respectful of the animal and respectful of your wallet. The real deal, where to go instead. Now, let's talk about the Australian steakhouses that are actually worth your money. Legit pick number one, Macelleria. This is the butcher that cooks for you concept done right. You walk in, choose your actual cut from the window, high-quality Angus, Wagyu, or grass-fed, and they grill it to your liking for a small fee. It's transparent. You see the marbling before you buy. You see the thickness. You know exactly what you're getting. The prices are fair because there's no white tablecloth markup. You're paying for the meat, not the pretension. The sides are simple and fresh. Crispy potatoes, garden salads, charred corn. It's honest beef, cooked by people who respect the animal. It feels like a community hub, not a corporate machine. Legit pick number two. The local gastropub with a wood-fired grill. Forget the chains. Look for the local pub that has invested in a real charcoal or wood-fired grill. Places like the Squires Loft or independent pubs in your area that source from specific farms. When you taste a steak cooked over real wood, you get that smoky, charred crust that no liquid smoke can fake. The fat renders differently. The flavor penetrates the meat. It's primal and delicious. Look for menus that name the farm or the region. Gippsland grass-fed, Riverina Angus. That transparency usually means the chef cares about the product. Australian beef is too good to be ruined by a chain restaurant microwave. Next time you want a steak, skip the hogs and the rumps. Don't fall for the bloomin' gimmicks or the slow-cooked lies. Find a butcher-style restaurant or a wood-fire pub. Support the venues that are doing it right. Your taste buds will thank you, and you'll walk away feeling satisfied, not ripped off. If this video saved you from a $50 rubber steak, hit that like button. Subscribe for more honest Aussie food reviews, and tell me in the comments, what's the worst steak you've ever paid for? Was it one of these chains? Let's warn the others below.